monetize, and monetize.
Hello, my loves. Welcome to another episode. This one's going to be an incredible one. This is all about cultivating happiness, like true, authentic happiness. You know, so many people in this world act as if they're happy, and on the surface, perhaps they are. I used to be one of those people. And deep down inside, we don't feel quite fulfilled. We feel like there's something missing. We feel like, well, still empty. And if this is speaking to you or somebody that you know, please do shout this out to them. Please tag us on Instagram. It's Bold Sexy Warrior. And on Facebook here, please do share Rosalind Fung Coaching Bold Sexy Warrior. And I love to hear what your takeaways are from this episode. So before we move into that, I want to check in with you. It is almost the end of the first quarter of the year here, and I want to invite you to reflect on how has it been going with your business. Have you been hitting and achieving your goals? Have you been receiving the leads, the new soulmate clients at the rate that you are hoping for, that you've really wanted to call in? How's your energy? Are you noticing that you're in hustle mode and then you get exhausted? If that's you, like, let's talk. Follow this. So I am calling in 5 new impact hungry queens for Soul Ascension Business Academy, where we are doing the energy, mindset, belief shifting work, as well as implementing the sexy social media strategies and systems and structures to help you take your business not only to the next income level, but also more importantly, that you come home to yourself and you magnetize your dream life and business. So you can go DM me, Soul Ascension, to apply for this. All right, my loves, let's welcome our next my special guest, Teresa Grecco. I'm going to invite you to just tune in. Are you noticing that, like I shared in the beginning, that perhaps you feel happy, but if you were just to stay in silence, can you do that? and if you were just to notice what stuff might come up, if any. You know, oftentimes we sit in silence and if we give ourselves the opportunity, we reflect, we notice stuff comes up. It's hard to just let ourselves be clear and notice what stuff does come up. So oftentimes, and again, I'm speaking from personal experience, we can be running away without even knowing we're running away. We're looking for things outside of ourselves to fill up what's missing in here. Does that sound like you, my loves? If so, this is the episode for you. You know, I did some research and only 1 in 3 people are authentically happy. Wow, that's a pretty sad statistic. And so let's change this. Let's change this for you. And today, my guest and I are going to be, I'm going to be interviewing her, of course, and she's going to be sharing about what the principles are of being authentically happy and how do we cultivate more true, authentic happiness in our lives. So, Teresa Grecco. Let me tell you a little bit about her. I was actually just on her TV show. She's also a TV show host as well. And so I'm so excited to have her jam on mine. She's a happiness life coach, author, editor, and senior writer of 2 Canadian magazines. She's a motivational speaker, educator, educational technologies consultant, and Reiki master. She's also the co-author of 3 self-help books and the founder of personal development company that mentors others about embracing, honoring, loving, and celebrating their true, authentic self and achieving their own personal happiness and fulfillment. In fact, one of those co-authored books we're in together, book number 5 of Blue Talks Business Life Universe. which is kind of like if TEDx and Chicken Soup for the Soul had a baby, you would get Blue Talks. And she's also the host of the internet TV and radio show called The Steps to Happiness, and where she really discusses various physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices that contribute to true inner happiness. Welcome, Teresa. I'm so glad you're here, love.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here as well.
Oh my goodness, we're going to have so much fun jamming. And I hope we called in that, our intention here is to really help inspire, move, catalyze those who are feeling like something's missing and needing new perspective, new ideas, even like new downloads and energy from this listening and tuning in and watching, however that medium is for them, to just really start to reflect and shift and come home to themselves through the vessel of happiness. So I'd love for you to share, what is your story? How did you become who you are today and be so on fire doing what you do now?
Thank you so much. So I've been on my happiness journey for about 10 years now, where it was for me that crossroad that situation in your life that causes you to take a step back and ask some very important questions and reevaluate my life. For me, it was approaching 40 that did that. It was that milestone that had me asking the questions, am I happy living the life I am living? Can I imagine living the same life for another 40 years if I had lived like half my life at that point? Is this all there is to life? Am I living my life's true purpose and full potential? And it was in the asking of those questions that it allowed me to take that step back and understand that I really wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled, but it was confusing for me because my life checked off all the boxes that society, culture, family, religion tell you that you should have in order to have a happy life. I had achieved all of those things. Very fulfilling career, beautiful, healthy family, our own home, vacations a year, cars in the driveway, lots of beautiful material things that on the outside people would look in and say, Teresa, your life is perfect. What do you have to complain about? So it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, is this all there is to life? Like that it's just, me on this treadmill of wanting to always try to do more and be more than who I was so that I could do more for others. And everything that I do, like that I've been doing my whole life is always, how may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve? That if I could only be more, then I could do more for others. And I was on this satisfaction treadmill of, acquiring more certificates, more degrees, more diplomas so that I could learn more, so that I could serve others, but always feeling that not enough, that if, that I'm seeking for all of these things outside, such as reverence and love and acceptance and esteem and all of those things, not recognizing that they all existed within me. And it's through the work that I've been doing over the last 10 years that I've now understood that we're conditioned to believe that our happiness is found in our possessions, in our positions, in our titles, degrees, relationships, experiences, that happiness is positioned outside of us. Love is positioned outside. Peace is positioned outside. It's all outside of us. So it's not a wonder that we're constantly looking or searching outside of ourselves to complete us with the things that we're looking for that really exist inside of us. But we're taught to look outside. We're not taught to go inward and discover what we're really looking for exists inside. The answers exist inside. The love exists inside. The peace, the happiness, all of those things that for us, happiness is in some cases a journey that we say things like, I won't be happy until I pay off my mortgage. I won't be happy until I find that perfect person. I won't be happy until I go on that vacation for that 1 week. I won't be happy until I have that designer bag, that sports car, like whatever it is that we're in that case, happiness is a possession, that it's something that we're trying to acquire, we're trying to find, that there's a whole bunch of beliefs around happiness. There's many different paradigms that we have around happiness. happiness as a possession is just one of them. Some people believe that happiness is something that we need to earn and achieve that and be worthy of. Some people feel that it's only until they have like a certain level in their business or a certain level of success in their life that only then will they be worthy of happiness. So happiness is really outside of us in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different belief systems. There are then the two that are a little bit closer that we then start to understand that happiness is within us. But some people then still believe that happiness is a state of mind, that, you know, we can have happy thoughts and we can be positive about things, and then we'll start to feel happy. But happiness is actually even more than a state of mind. Happiness is a state of being, that it is who we are, that when we are born into this world, we are love, peace, and happiness. We see love, peace, and happiness innately in children. All we have to do is they are all of those things. But then the world very slowly takes us away from that and has us thinking that it's outside of us, that it's not, as I said, a state of being. So basically, happiness for me is, as you said in the introduction, a coming home to ourselves, that happiness is our essential nature. It's who we really are. And so it's only until we understand that and we make time to connect to the happiness inside of us will we be truly happy, so that it's more than just a fleeting emotion. That's the other thing, right? That people think, well, you know, we can feel angry for a bit, we can feel happy for a bit, we can feel joyous for a bit, we can feel peace for a bit. No, we can feel love, peace, and happiness at any moment by tuning inward to where it really is. And there are a whole bunch of principles and practices that I now coach and write about that talk about how we can come home to ourselves, how we can connect with the happiness that's always inside us, to feel like, Rosalind, there's a huge weight removed when you understand that happiness is always inside you, to feel that you don't have to be worthy of happiness. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to go to, you know, a luxurious vacation to be happy. That happiness can be found wherever you go. Like during the pandemic, even though I wasn't able to go to, let's say, what I would, and there even like, they would be in my happy place, right? That's the other thing, is that people like, well, I feel the happiest when I'm in nature. I feel happy when I'm at the gym and all those things. It's not the place that's making you feel happy. It's that you're connected to the happiness inside of you. And some of those places can assist you in connecting. So there's so many things around happiness that really need to, our understanding and definition around happiness have to be adjusted, because when you understand that it's inside you to feel at any moment, you, and that it's, as I said,
exclamation mark on that.
and then a huge weight can be lifted off, because you don't have to do anything in order to feel happy and to be happy. It's more than just a feeling, it's a being happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the energy of it. There's so many pieces I want to, like, if we can just slow down and unpack. And particularly, I want to bring it back to, because I know so many people are probably like, oh my gosh, like, yes, 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 yes. But I want to hear more about your journey in terms of like, how did you turn it around then? Like what, and maybe you can share about the steps in what you teach your clients, and just like how you took those steps for yourself in your journey.
So in the asking of those questions and in evaluating my life and in recognizing that I wasn't happy, I suffered in silence for a long time. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I really recoiled within myself. On the outside, I think I still present it as, you know, Teresa's just doing her thing. But on the inside, I felt very alone in what I was going through. And now, you know, a big part of my message is that we do feel alone when we're going through our stuff. We feel that no one will understand, that we'll lose love and acceptance and reverence or respect or any of those things if we reveal some of the things that we're going through. I
Yeah.
wasn't.
if you felt guilty about not feeling
Yes.
really happy
Mhm.
because on the
Mhm.
outside you had all,
Mhm.
like, I can totally relate to this.
Mhm.
Totally relate to this before my spiritual awakening. I was just like, I had the perfect life, right?
Mhm.
And yet deep inside, I didn't feel fulfillment. I felt
Mhm.
completely empty. And
Mhm.
my inner critic was so loud all the time,
Mhm.
so hard on myself. But it really, like, I was operating from this place of like head cut off from body. And
Mhm.
this is the way to be because I didn't know anything different.
Mhm. 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 If when you said the head cut off from, for me, it's like I was only operating from the
From
head,
the
right,
head.
and not
Yeah,
operating from the heart, right, and
exactly. I
not
didn't even know that was a
getting
thing.
right, and going
I'm
into
laughing now,
that,
but
and
so
that's
many people don't know it's a thing. We hear about
yes.
it. We hear like operate from the heart. How do you do that? Right. And so, um, it's like, it's like when we are taught, just like you said it so perfectly. So like we are positioned to believe that happiness is outside of us, that when we, check off all those boxes, the career, the perfect soulmate partner, the perfect family, the perfect house, the car, like the clothes, the style, like when we have all those, that'll bring us happiness.
Mhm.
And we're positioned to think that, well, I must have these things and do these things to be worthy or be happy, when that's so backwards, so backwards. And I'm sure we'll chat more about that.
Well,
Mhm.
brands spend millions of dollars, in the
Yes.
psychology of branding and marketing and making you think that you need these things, that only until you
Yes.
acquire them will you be like, that is the whole thing, that they
Mhm.
actually look for our faults and deficiencies. They
Mhm.
study that to say, like,
Yep.
even all, a lot of products that are sold to women are
Mhm.
there trying to capitalize on what's considered faults about us. Our
Yes.
cellulite, our skin, our hair, our like waist cinchers, or like it's on and on and on to say, well, if you don't look like and have this, all these boxes checked off on this whole criteria, then you're less and you're
Mhm.
not worthy of happiness, of success, and all these other things, that you will never be enough until you have those red bottom shoes, or that 7-figure job, or that huge house. And like, it's like, we will, that exactly, that you will not be enough until you have acquired all of these different things. And that's, again, it's an acquiring.
Yeah.
It's not understanding that those things are now like a cherry on top, that I
Yes.
feel fulfilled within myself. Without, like, those things, if they're there, that's wonderful, but it's not what sustains you. In that, even any of those things, you might feel good for 3 days and then they go away, right?
Mhm.
That you
Yeah.
maybe, you've been striving for that job at work and you feel really good for a week, and then your life sets back in. Same thing, you come back from vacation, you settle back into your life, and you realize you're not happy again. And it's all of those things, right? That it's like, I would buy those things and feel really good, and then you go back into your life and you're like, well, why aren't I happy again? And then
Mhm.
you're on that satisfaction treadmill, as I said, always trying to fill and have that feeling of happiness that is always transient. It's always something that it's only there for a little bit of time before then you start to feel unhappy again, or angry and miserable. And there are a whole bunch of reasons around that it's only until we really pick it apart do we understand why it's fleeting. And one of the big reasons is that we don't make time to connect with the happiness that's inside of us. It's always there. But if we're working 60 to 80 hours a week,
Mhm.
how much time have you spent connecting to that happiness? Have you meditated? Have you gone to the gym? Have you been out in nature? Have you done the drawing, the cooking, the playing with your kids, the taking your, like, have you done any of the things that help you to connect with the happiness inside of you? Many people do
And
not.
would you say that's the first step, love? Like, once, like, it was this making time to reflect at where you're at. Like, what was
No,
it
so
that?
my first step was not that. My first step was connecting with the inner part of myself, that again, we're always living on the outside, looking
Yeah.
exterior to ourselves and not connecting with the inside. And so my first step was meditation. I believe that that is that gateway practice that helps you to connect with your spiritual self. That again, society, culture, family, religion, very focused on our physical self or in our mental self. Those are the big ones, right? That we have mental health month, where it's like,
Yes.
okay, let's just focus on mental health, like as if the other parts of ourselves don't exist, or physical health month. And it's just this separated and segmented self. But there's the spiritual self that we don't talk about, because it's weird and woo woo to say that there's a spiritual aspect to ourself that's always there, that gut instinct. I like to call it your inner magic, that intuition, that small little voice inside of you that's always there speaking to you, but we are not taught to connect with that. And so I always thought that I was connected to that through religion, that I was brought up Catholic and I was taught to pray outside of me. God was a church. Jesus was a church. My priest told me unless I went to church, I was not connecting with God, that I needed to also speak to God through my priest, that I needed a mediator to connect with that. And all of that just seemed very weird to me. But that, again, religion keeps that part of you, the essence of who you are, outside of you, because they need you going to church, right? They need you going to that building to support.
And there's a lot of shame imposed in it. I actually grew up in Catholic schools too.
Lots, shame and guilt.
My parents are atheists, but they thought for some reason it'd be safer for me to go to Catholic school. I don't know. I mean, I had a great experience, but I wasn't immersed in the whole experience. But yes, and then my in-laws were, when they met, so one was a nun. My mom-in-law was a nun, and my dad-in-law was a priest. So very interesting. Yeah, that's a whole story. People can
And
listen
God
to.
is outside of us in religion. God is outside. It is not who we are. Like, I now know that I am God. That God expresses through me, or source energy, or whatever, or the universe, or the spark, or whatever you want to go ahead and, because it doesn't matter what you call it, we are all expressions of that. And it's only until we connect with that part of ourselves can we be fully whole. So even on my show, we talk about how do we connect with and nurture all aspects of ourselves, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. And it's only until we connect and nurture all those aspects can we feel complete. And it's not a wonder then that I felt like something was missing in my life. I felt that there was a void that it didn't matter what I did, I could not fill. And it was because, one, it was the real me that was missing. That's part of my story, that I was living my life according to external expectations for who I was supposed to be, the perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect daughter, perfect mom, perfect sister, sister-in-law, employee, etc. I had lost myself. That was part of it, that as I was approaching 40, that it was me having a coffee with a friend of mine, and I said, I've lost myself in the living of my life. I don't even know who I am. How do you arrive at half your life and not even know who you are, because you've been living your life according to everyone and everything else, that you don't even know who you really are? And so this journey, it has been a journey back to myself, and I have to check in with myself all the time so that I don't go back to living the life that I was living before I began connecting to the wholeness and fullness of who I am.
Now, when you decided to start meditating, was that through with a teacher? Like, what supported you? Because I know that some people are like, okay, I know my people. So some people are really adamant on already, like they're huge into meditation, and then those likely who we're speaking to right now, who are feeling unfulfilled, either haven't really done a lot of meditating at all, or maybe dabbled here and there. And I know a lot of people also struggle with meditation in itself. So can you speak to, for you, what have you yourself done? What do you notice supports your clients to move inwards a little bit more?
Thank you for that question. And I can appreciate it because I'm also a meditation coach and spiritual coach in addition to happiness life coach. So I get those same questions all the time. I started, this was like 10 years ago now. Back then, meditation was weird and woo-woo. It wasn't so popular now with lots of different resources and videos and lots of just resources around being able to become connected. For me, my family thought I was part of a cult when I started meditating because it was still really weird. So in order for me to get started, I didn't know what to do. So basically I had gone to a medium. I said, I want to hear from God. I'm doing all of these different things. And she says, Spirit is telling me you need to meditate. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I know how to pray, but that's obviously not getting me anywhere. So luckily for me, there was a meditation center close by my home. I called them up and I said, Spirit is telling me I need to meditate. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to do it. They said, we have a meditation circle once a month. You can come. We'll help you to get started. And that's exactly what I did. They will tell you that I cried for an entire year every time I went because I connected with a part of myself that I had never connected with. That's why I call meditation that gateway practice to connecting with your spiritual self, because again, I was taught to pray outside. God was outside. You had to have a mediator, all of that, not recognizing it was all inside me. The other part is that when I began meditating is that I connected to that love, peace, and happiness inside of me. And it allowed me then to evaluate whether I was loving myself in my everyday life. So that
Can
was
we actually put a pause on that right now? Because I feel like that's a whole deeper topic we can go into right after commercial. So as we go into commercial, I'm going to invite you, my loves, to really tune into like what's really standing out for you in this episode so far as you reflect back to yourself.
Om Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
Are you feeling maxed out working one-on-one with clients and you're deeply desiring to scale your business for more time freedom without sacrificing your income, but rather expanding it? Many of my clients who are light workers, healers, practitioners, and even coaches, they're often multi-modality, are coming to me because they are sick and tired of working with clients on a one-off session model where the clients are coming in on an as-need basis. Or if they're selling packages, they are selling them in the sense of buy 5, get 1 free, or the greater the number of sessions, the greater the discount. The problem with this is it's still a dollar for hours business model. And so that leaves the practitioner feeling really exhausted and overwhelmed from having to put so much time, effort, and energy in finding new clients that they're not operating in their most elevated self with their current clients. And so if this is you, I would love to share with you that it's time to elevate your business and scale it to sell high ticket one-on-one programs, or even group programs. This will allow you to have more deeper impacts because you're raising your clients' results, you're scaling your business, and you're having that time freedom you deeply are yearning for. If this is resonating with you, love, I'd love to invite you to come on a soul business alignment call with me so that you can stop feeling like you're on this roller coaster ride and start to feel safe and stable and even having fun in your business and your finances. Please go to electrifymybusiness.com to apply and we'll hop on a call. I can't wait to connect.
If I could be you and you could be me for just 1 hour, if we could find a way to get inside each other's minds, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Hello, welcome back. So just before the show commercial, we were just about to dive in deeper into Teresa, you were sharing about, just really reflecting on your relationship with yourself when you started to move into the gateway of meditation. Can you share more about that piece?
Thank you. And so, as I was saying, that when I began to connect to the love, peace, and happiness that I am, that it allowed me then to evaluate whether I was living from that space in my everyday life. And I realized that I was not loving myself the way that I needed to, that I was looking for love in, let's say, all the wrong places. They weren't the wrong places. They were in people in my circle, right? Looking for that love and acceptance in others, not recognizing that I was love myself. And it was only until I began to connect with that love did I then become more open to accepting the love of others. As I said, I suffered in silence for a long time and really feeling that nobody really loved me, but it was because I wasn't loving myself first. And then I became more open to really accepting the love of others. So that's a big piece. But then I started to look and see whether I was loving all aspects of myself. Was I loving my physical, mental, and physical self the way that I needed to? Mentally, I was not loving myself. I was my worst critic. I was that part of me that sabotaged myself, that had tons of limiting beliefs, that was the programming and the conditioning and living on the autopilot. And I was all of that I was never enough of a lot of different things. I was never pretty enough. I was never skinny enough. I was never athletic enough. I wasn't enough of lots. And those were all things that were said to me over the living of my life that then became the words that I said to myself on constant repeat. And so in the awakening to that love, I then became aware of those thoughts and was like, wow, like why would I ever say those things to myself? Why do I believe those things about myself? Who said those things to me? So it was like, it brought on a whole host of questions to actually then take a step back again and look at how I was treating my body, how I was treating myself on a mental level, on emotional level as well, realizing that I wasn't feeling the love inside of me the way that I needed to, that I often hated myself for a lot of things, that I was limiting myself in a lot of different ways. And those are all belief systems that I had adopted, again, from outside of me, that I became awake to when I connected to that love. So that's why for me, that spiritual self is so important, because that part of us is whole, healed, and complete.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
It is that, and it is that power inside of us that's always there for us to tap into, but we don't we're not, again, conditioned to tap into that and to know that it's inside of us always to tap into.
Yeah. So then how is it that you can speak to it as a coach to your clients? And imagine you guide them inside, you ask these questions. What is that next step?
So then it's loving yourself in your everyday life. And
Mhm.
so there's a whole bunch of things that come along with loving yourself. It is making time for the self-care. That's, part of the physical part of it. It is then on a mental, on an emotional level, evaluating the relationships in your life. Are they serving you? Are they contributing to that
Mhm.
lack of love that you have for yourself? So
Mhm.
it then leads you down a whole path of recognizing maybe then the ways that you are not connecting to that part of yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, happiness is a two-sided coin, that if we're not feeling happy, then one side of the coin is there could be blocks that are preventing you from doing that. And so there's lots of different blocks that we can look at that are preventing us from feeling the happiness that's inside of us or the love that's inside of us. And so, for example, those relationships that are not serving us are a block, because how am I supposed to feel amazing about myself when I have all of these critics around me telling me I'll never amount to anything, that you're ugly and stupid, and because you look like this, or because of where you live or whatever, that you'll never amount to anything. So it really allows you to awaken to the way that you're living in a whole bunch of different ways. So that's the one side. Forgiveness is a really big one, that many of us are not forgiving others the way that we need to. There's lots of blocks
I
that would.
have a question. So I know for when I used to be a self-love coach, and even now as a visionary life and business soul coach, there's lots of in my clients, like even myself, I know what I need to do, or I know I want to feel this way, and I feel the resistance. So can you share a little bit about, that how do you support your clients in moving through the resistance? Because like, for example, relationships, I think that's such a hot topic, right? Like we are often not truly feeling fulfilled in our romantic relationships. And so yet, we sort of justify being in that relationship. I find people stay too long in relationships, whether that's a romantic one or a business one or a friendship one, and they don't quite, they settle in, they tolerate, but deep down, they're not really feeling fulfilled about it. And there's so much, but it's in our comfort zone, right? And it's so much fear to like leave that relationship, to set healthier boundaries in the relationship, or whatever needs to happen to create, to risk creating that deeper sense of fulfillment with that person, or more particularly with themselves. And so I'm curious if you can speak to that. How do you work with your clients with that resistance? Because change is hard. And sometimes it's easier to stay in your comfort zone, even if it's not working for you. What would you like to
And that's where our emotional self comes in, because our emotional self is that compass. So happiness is a compass to whether I'm living authentically, whether I'm living the life that I came here to live.
Yes.
So happiness tells us that when I am in my love, peace, and when I am in alignment with that, I can feel it physically, I feel it, emotionally, I feel it. But when we're out of alignment, physically, we feel it, right? I have a headache, my shoulders hurt, my neck hurts, my back, like it's a whole bunch of physical things tell us we're not in alignment. Emotionally, we don't feel the happiness inside of us that we should. We feel a whole host of other emotions, and those are all clues that we need to make changes to realign ourselves. And so we need to honor the feelings. And so we are, again, conditioned to say, what do I think about this situation versus how do I feel about the situation, right? If we said, how do I feel? And we listened to that, we use the mind then as a way, as the slave to the heart and not the other way around, that we then have the mind try to figure out how it can honor what the heart is telling us.
Yes.
And so we need to when you say what do I get my clients to do, is to really check in with their emotional self and say, when you hang out with those people, how do you feel when you're in their presence? And so we are not going to rationalize situations that are not good for us. So I'm not going to continue to work at a place where my boss disrespects me and dishonors me and makes me feel like I'm not a value part of the business. I'm not going to hang out with people that every time I hang out with them, I don't feel valued in their presence. And so and then in your more personal relationship, like love relationships too, it's that you're always like checking in and saying, and honoring those feelings versus saying, well, it's okay, because that's what the mind does. It's okay, he's my boss. Oh, it's okay, I should go there because I'm making a lot of money, so I should just put up with all of this other shit.
All the justification. And I like to say, like, it's like, we feel fear because it means we are seeing new possibilities of a new way to be, but that requires us to get out of our comfort zone and go into the unknown. And I believe that, you and I would agree with, it's about having courage to feel the fear and go for your big vision anyway, because you're worthy of it. You're worthy of this. And what happens is, when we don't give in to our fears, which often is false evidence appearing real, right? That everything is on the other side of fear. It's just like, oftentimes I hear people say, and even for myself, I'll look back and be like, yo, that really wasn't that bad. Like, I'm so much more fulfilled right now. I'm so much more happier. And it's like, as we take that aligned action, as we are shitting ourselves, literally, but it gets easier and easier and easier as we move into what we desire deeply, even though it's scary. And that's where like huge breakthroughs happen, huge magic happens.
Yes. If we consistently check in with ourselves in all aspects, again, making time to connect with all aspects. So back to the two-sided coin was that part of it is there are blocks that are maybe preventing you from feeling happy. The second is, are you making time to connect with the happiness that's inside of you? And so if we're, as I said, working 60 to 80 hours a week, then we may not be able, we're not making time to connect with that. There's a whole bunch of ways we can connect with the happiness inside. It's individual to everyone. So it's important that we're aware of the ways that help you to do that.
Absolutely. And then was there another step once people start to like be aware and they're creating the habits? Like, is there another step that you want to really emphasize on?
I would say being in the now, being very, very mindful of the now moment. Happiness is found in the now. We live most of our life in the past. 95% of the time we're in our subconscious mind, which is the operating system that we live by unconsciously every single day. And it's the same 60 to 70,000 thoughts that are recycled day after day, which is our trauma and our rejection and our mistakes that continue to haunt our present moment and sabotage the happiness that is found in the now, or we are stuck in anxiety of and worry and doubt of the future. And so if we could constantly check in with ourselves and be present to what's happening here at any moment. So you're hanging out with your friends and having lunch with them. You're not on your phone. You're not watching TV. You're not distracted. You are completely immersed in any moment and attuning all of your senses to appreciate. I mean, gratitude is a big part, another big step and a big component, huge. But gratitude immediately comes in when you're being present and grateful for the gift that the present moment is providing you with. And children, again, are always in the present moment. They're there. They don't even understand what later means. Later means is it now? Is it now? Is it now? Because they live in the present moment. And so we need to be there too, because that's where happiness is found. That's where our life of limitless potential is found. It's found now. So I always have to, and the more you practice and the more you do it, it just becomes, more automatic. The gratitude becomes more automatic, and the being present and grateful for each moment it just is.
I love that. I love gratitude. I think it's a foundation. I know it's a foundation. It's like, what are we grateful for each day. When you wake up, say 3 things that you're grateful for. I'm grateful I wake up. I'm grateful I can put my feet on the ground. I'm grateful for my rollover and give my husband a kiss. I'm grateful for my love my life. And I love that word present. Like, I actually love the word presencing. You mentioned, like, those of us who are have 60-hour work weeks, for example. They're probably going, how can I find time to meditate? Like, I have to work. So we often commute to work. Maybe if you work from home, maybe not, but you commute from, your bedroom to the kitchen. So you can use that moment to be present with your body, feel the sensation, feel your feet moving forward. That is meditation in itself, because you are presencing. You're slowing down. You're not multitasking. I learned the power of stopping multitasking and staying present. And man, does that create way more flow. So thank you so much, Teresa. Those people who are like, I want to know more about you, I want to start following you, I want to work with you, how can they get connected with you?
Thank you. So they can go to my website. It's teresagrecco.ca, and it's Teresa with no H, Greco.ca. So you can go there. You can also connect with me on Instagram, which is Teresa Grecco _ Steps to Happiness. You can find me on Facebook, Steps to Happiness with Teresa Grecco. You can also follow me on my internet TV show, which can be found on soulivity.com. And when you go to soulivity.com, you can connect with Soul Livity TV, and then you'll see all of my shows there, where we talk about the different ways that we connect and nurture all aspects of ourselves, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self.
Love it. And then when our episode on your show comes out, I'll be sure to take it here as well. So before we go into meditation, we do have one question here on the live stream. Thank you so much, Jolene. What about when you feel offish? Have no idea why? What suggestions do you have for that?
Thank you. That is a clue that we need to go inward. So when we check, we're constantly checking in with ourselves. When we're feeling off-ish for whatever reason, that is the clue that we need to go inward, because the answers are always found within us. We're probably just feeling a little out of alignment, depending how offish you're feeling. If you're feeling angry and frustrated and you don't have clarity, those are all clues that you need to go inward and start to breathe. That for meditation, for me, is as simple as breathing. People think, meditation has to be the crystals and the incense and the mat and the comfy clothing and the candles and the music. Like they have this whole vision about what it means to meditate, but it can be all of those things, but it doesn't need to be all of those things in order for you just to close your eyes and start to connect with the inner part of yourself. And so when we feel offish, it's because we probably are out of alignment and we're not feeling the wholeness that we are. And so as soon as we go inward, then we can start to align with that. And that usually then brings the exterior aspects of ourselves into that fullness and wholeness.
Beautiful. I also wanted to just chip in before we move into our short meditation, is that, Jolene, we are all empaths, and some of us are stronger empath than others. So what I would also, if you don't really know why you're feeling offish, and when this happens for me, I'm like, okay, is this even mine? So I ask. So I'll just go, is this even mine? And then I'll take a breath in, and I'll say, return to sender with consciousness and love. And then I'll breathe that out. And if I feel an immediate shift within the next 30, like it can even be as quick as 5 seconds, then I know it wasn't mine, and I wasn't carrying, like I was carrying someone else's. I picked someone else's shit up. Okay, so that can also be a possibility too. So beautiful. Okay, let's have Teresa take the spotlight here, and the next, let's say like 6 minutes to do a meditation to bring us inward, to connect with our happiness. And then I'll just come in the last minute to light language this, to activate and seal everything. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm just going to have you close your eyes. If you can, holding your palms open as well, just gently laying them on a surface or on your lap. And I'm going to have you just inhale deeply for as many counts as you can. And then exhaling where you can feel yourself just releasing and letting go of that which you just need to let out of your system, whether you're feeling overwhelmed on a mental level or on a physical level where you might be feeling some heaviness. So inhaling for as many breaths as you can, not straining to do that. And then when you feel ready, just exhaling and making that audible if you need to with a big if you have lots that you feel like you need to release. And just listening to the sound of your breath. Really concentrating on the sound of it as you're inhaling it through your nose. Maybe pausing at the top for a moment or two. And then listening to the sound of it as it comes out of your body, that our breath is that life force that's keeping us alive. Moment by moment, at the moment that we enter in to this lifetime, it is our breath that, we spank the baby's bottom to immediately start breathing, and it is that breath that sustains us moment by moment in our life till the moment that we're going to leave this earth. It is that part of ourselves that we often don't attune into as we should, to understand how invigorating the breath can be and how centering and grounding the breath is, that in those moments of feeling frustrated and overwhelmed and stressed, that those are all indications that it's time for us to return to the breath. And we can do that just inhaling for as many counts as we can, really feeling the lungs expand as we do that, because we often breathe very shallowly. And then letting all of what does not serve us to come out of our body through the breath. And there's a huge release. And when we do that, and then when we start to feel a little more calm within ourselves, we can then start to tune into what inner guidance might be coming through to us. And rather than just focusing on the sound of our breath is hugely important, just to get us into that space so that we can clear our mind enough from those raging thoughts of what we have to do later, or what we wish, or what we maybe didn't get done, to just being here now. And as I said, tuning inward to what does that little voice inside of you have to tell you at this moment? Are there any messages that it's trying to communicate with you, like how amazing you are and how you're doing the best that you can at any moment?
Beautiful. I'm going to come in with a light language. Morakia, sira koratia, mirakia, sorakia. Morakia, sira kia, sorkoratia, mirakoratia. Morakia, sira koratia, clearing any heaviness, any tension, anything that doesn't serve or support. Morakia, sira koratia, mirakoratia. Aligning, balancing all your energy centers. Morakia, sirakia, sorkortia, mirakia, tia, mirakia, sorkortia. Morakia, sirakortia, kortia. Tuning in with your heart. Breathing in here. Marakia, sorokurati, nerakuratia, marakia, bringing healing. Morakurakia, sorokuratu, activating happiness. Marakia, sarakurati, neraka. Breathing in. And then anchoring in as if you're a tree, you're anchoring into your roots, into Mother Earth. Beautiful. Thank you so much, my loves. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you as well. And I don't know everybody else, but I just had, confirmation throughout my whole body. There's that like tingling, that buzzing all the way throughout. That's like, I call them your divine crew. That's just like they're saying yes, yes, and either like stroke. I like to envision their wings, their feathers just stroking you ever so gently that it brings you those goosebumps that are like, oh, you were surrounding you, we're cradling you, like, oh yes, just confirmation that we are fully supported.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful energy, your wisdom with us today. And thank you, my loves, for tuning in.
Thank you so much for having me.